nation, whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these badass little mid-sized vehicles we all like to drive. This is your all-terrain nation. I'm your host, David Wood, alongside Mr. the Captain over there.
It's Tim with Pickup Truck Plus SV Talk. I'm just back from vacation. I'm a little so I took a quasi vacation. I worked a little bit, but like I didn't tell people I was on vacation, which is probably the best way to do vacations. And I went to film yesterday, and it had like 7 takes before I could get my verbiage out. And I was like, how do I do this again? And I have a review of a Suburban I drove. I was in Michigan with my family, and even that I shot that, it was even weird. Like it just, I don't know. I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling to get back to it.
But that means it was a good vacation. You got you out of your head a little bit, let you think about something else.
Yeah. We did some fishing. Went to Port Huron, looked at Canada. So I don't know. It was good. It was good for the kids. I took my sons and my nephew, and they got to see my dad and my brother, and see some cousins they haven't seen in years. So it all worked out good. And then my wife went to Hawaii at the same time.
Well, I guess you got to go earlier in the year, so it was payback, right?
Yeah. Well, so she had a friend who wanted a little girl time, and my wife needed a break. So we pooled our miles for United, pooled all the miles. You guys know I fly quite a bit. We had 205,000 air miles combined. I booked everything, and we had like 5
miles left.
Yeah, and we even had to buy, I think, a couple miles. And so basically, her Hawaii and my Michigan trip cost us like $100 and some bought miles and fees. That's what
in this economy. Jesus,
yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, I did economy. I couldn't get the kids in economy plus either, because my nephew, I couldn't put him on a reservation. I had to go. He was traveling with a minor. Had to go through the whole airport rigmarole to get him through security. It was a pain in the butt. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I have 5 miles. I had 5. I'm getting more. And then Anna Smith says, "Please send money to Tim. He only got 10 cents from Facebook." Yeah, I posted this thing on Facebook. I turned on all the monetization for Facebook. Apparently, there was off. Whatever. It said they were going to send me. They were going to mail me a check for $100, but because they didn't have things turned on, they quashed that and didn't send it to me. So I was like, "Oh, that's BS." So then they sent me an email today. Said I made 10 cents.
I made $3 this past month.
$3, yeah. So this is the huge money we're making on Facebook. It's so great to post over there.
Oh yeah, man. That's for journalists. That's where you make all the money, right?
Oh yeah. Loaded. So yeah, I'm just now getting back into it. As far as was back yesterday. We got back late Wednesday night, got back yesterday, and then today. So today, this is nice. We're doing a live stream today, and then I'm doing doing a truck news recap this afternoon, and then the weekend. So
nice. I didn't know if we would get you on here today because of coming back from vacation. You might have been like, I need to stretch this out just another day.
Yeah. No, I need to get back at it for sure. It's funny because lots of stuff's happening. So we have the Tacoma issues came up. The Frontier got updated. So this is how bad it was. Dave's like messaged me this Frontier image, and I'm like, oh cool, it's a spy photo. Like it didn't even dawn on me. Then the next day I go to a Nissan news press room, whatever. And I'm like, oh, the Frontier got updated. And then so Joe wrote the story up. And we didn't do a video. We didn't do it. So I'm like, well, I'll just do a truck news recap with that this afternoon. We'll talk about it. And we'll talk about it here in the live stream. I completely missed it. Completely. And honestly, I don't know. Anyways. So let's start with what's MTP? Mid-sized truck
podcast.
Okay.
I don't know. I keep playing the name of these shows, man. One day I'll settle on something.
So let's talk with Tacoma issues, because that blew up while I was gone. I just watched Icon's video where they blew the shock.
Yes, I saw that. If you guys don't know, Icon's the suspension company, which is the irony of a suspension company. They were like 20 miles in on a test strip, and all of a sudden you hear clunk, 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 clunk. Yeah, well, so this is. We were talking on the forum about this, and I'm getting cynical in my older age. I'm not as old as Dave, though. I just learned that. Is that so? Icon blows the shock. They basically have a bolt. It looked like a bolt or something on top of the shock came out and the hit the frame. Okay. So initially they said there's no bump stop, and there's some videos on YouTube right now saying Tacoma's got no bump stop. What the hell? Well, Icon shows the bump stop. It's literally in the video. They flipped the shock tower around. There's a bump stop. And then Car Carry Nut did a
TRD Pro Tacoma review, a really kind of harsh one. I was so surprised Ahmed did that. He was really didn't like the truck. Let's just say it that way. And he shows a bump stop. So this whole notion that Tacoma is being built up bump stops, I don't know where this came from. There's another video that just I didn't even click on it. Thumbnail is all about not having bump stops. Yeah, 331. You could go fast forward to 331 mark, but that's the bolt that came through, and then the 331 mark is where he shows the bump stop. 331. Yeah, somebody in the forum said about there it is right there in his hand. So there it is. So that is the bump stop that's been relocated inside the shock, which I don't think is a bad deal. I mean, you're gonna hit that. That's generally we're gonna hit it anyways. There may be some engineering reason for it, but my cynical part with this was, okay, so Icon goes out, breaks the shock, and then in the same video they try to sell you the part that makes it not happen.
Yes, well, I mean that's like, what they do.
I don't know. Am I being overly cynical on that? Because I'm just like, well, it just seems like, well, that's really convenient. You guys broke it and then talked about how to fix it, like, and I could see. I mean, this is just a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just the luck of the draw. I don't know. I know some people over Icon. I don't think they're sleazy.
I don't think they're. Yeah, no. It's cynical me.
But the irony of a suspension company trying to develop a suspension for this vehicle and then Toyota's brakes. But what's funny about, I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for a fact, but the suspension that they're putting under it with the dual reservoir, I'm pretty sure it's the same setup that the Bronco uses. So it's by Bilstein or whoever makes it. But it's the same. If you look at it, it looks like the same suspension anyways. And a lot of times they just retool the bottoms or the way they attach to the upper control or to the mount. So, I mean, I think this shock's been out for a while. I just think it was a luck.
Yeah, I think this is I mean, how do you, to me, this is a weird one-off thing. I don't know. It seems odd that, because like to your point, they use Fox or they use Bilstein. I think
that's Bilstein. Here, I'll bring it.
Is it Bilstein?
Yeah. It looks like the exact same.
Yeah.
As the Sasquatch package uses, and I know Ford, the way they mount it, it's even same down here, except Ford has a mount where it goes into the lower control arm, the way they like to mount it. But as far as the shock itself, looks like the exact same shock.
Yeah, and so people are saying, well, Toyota sucks and Toyota this and Toyota that, and yeah, I mean, you can say that, but to me, this is a Bilstein issue.
Yes. I mean,
I mean,
companies have them tuned per what they want. But as far as, it's not like Toyota's in there building these things by any means.
Yeah. Now, Tyler points out the car care nut showed a really shaky hood video on the Pro. Yeah, that wasn't good. That's a Toyota engineering issue. That's a problem.
Yeah. Here it shows them testing it. And
yeah.
They're I forget. I watched this video there. I forget how they're testing it. How many strokes of
50, something like that. Yeah. It's not replicating a high speed, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just was kind of weird to me. And so the question's going to be like, is this going to blow up and be a bunch of thumbnails again? Or is it going to be like
if you like truck porn.
No. If you scroll over that one more time, is that the icon thumbnail?
Yeah. The thumbnail itself?
See that right there. No bump stops.
Now this is the next video. So
yeah, but next. I mean, what? Why do you have one video that shows? I have two videos now that show bump stops. And this guy is saying there's not a bump stop.
I don't know this. I don't know this.
I haven't watched this.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, it's right there. And they're breaking off road. And now they're well, it's misspelled. That's weird. I don't know. I'm not up on grammar as much as I should be as a writer, but that doesn't seem right to me. But it's also like, and now they're breaking off road. We have one. And the other thing that's interesting while I was on vacation was the Tacoma transmission story that I did last month or 2 months ago, whatever deal. The Drive picked it up, and then was the Drive or Motor One car picked up, and then they referenced me, which is great. I finally got a call out with the right channel name. People can't understand and or plus, and then Car and Driver picked it up. Well, that's a GX460 guy. He's been on my channel. He's like a nice guy. I just don't understand.
And I see this though, paid spot. Like when you put, I know what you're kind of about. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just surprised. I'm surprised you did that because I've seen 2 videos now that show bump stops. So I'm so confused. Um, I'm confused about that. I'm also confused. So it's the transmission issues. Somebody said they went on NHTSA .gov and they found there's now 12 issues with some of those Tacoma transmission issues being replicated.
Well,
And
we
so
got
I'm
no
like,
bump stop video, no bump stop video, transmission's failing. He fixed this. If you're like, I'm not going to put a lot of personally, I'm not going to put a lot of, I'm sure they're great videos, but I'm just,
yeah, yeah. It
he's
just
looking
seems
for
odd.
views on that.
So right now we have 12 confirmed cases of transmission issues,
Is this a new
but some are
transmission
duplicated.
is this a new transmission for the truck?
No, it can't be. And the transmission's built by we don't know who officially builds transmission.
Right.
But Toyota does, I mean, this it's just weird. It's like it
Well,
just
so the previous had a 5-speed and this is an
yeah.
8-speed, right?
Yeah, this is but it's not like a new ground up first I mean, come on. Toyota's
Oh
been
yeah.
using transmissions
Yeah.
for the engines as Car Care Net pointed out, the engine's been used in different vehicles as well. So I just find it very interesting. And I think that it's some of the lingering, I'm going to call it frustration over the Tundra redesign and Tundra issues are adding fuel to the fire for the Tacoma issues.
Well, so shouldn't that worry Toyota a little bit because the truck, and I'm not my next vehicle is going to be a 4Runner. So I already know what my next long-term review vehicle is. So I'm not like anti-Toyota, but I'm also not pro. A lot of people think I'm a Ford channel. And I'm not a Ford channel. It's just they've done a lot of fun. So that's where I followed. And now I'm going to Toyota because they're doing fun. But do you think because the initial response to the full-size truck was like, meh, and I know a lot of people like Tundra Dude 34, they love the new truck. TRD John loves the truck. I've done 2 reviews with the TRD Pro and the Tundra. I find it to be a great truck. And I've said many times that if I was buying a full-size truck, that would be my full-size truck because I like that truck a lot. But do you think it's just the audience, it wasn't what they wanted? Now we've said many times, hey, these truck manufacturers are just making mini versions of the full-size trucks. People are already turned off. They were hoping for something different. They didn't get it. Now it's a really slap in the face, a 4-cylinder, which I've driven the truck. I wasn't impressed with it, but I wasn't like disappointed with it either. It does truck things. And Toyota has a history of never being the most horsepower. They don't follow that trend. They just do what they do. But I think people are really disappointed with this truck. And I think now it opens that door for when little things pop up that might not ever be covered. Now it's a big deal because it's Toyota and people are pissed off with them.
Yeah, I mean the brand's having a moment. That's for sure. I mean, they're having you have the cheating scandals in Japan as well that are adding fuel to the fire. And it's I think it was very accurate. Like I said, while I don't know if this video, other videos, but somebody on the forum said, if Toyota doesn't have reliability, they ain't got crap.
Yeah.
And it really is true. I mean, the vehicles, if you were to blindfold somebody if you're not blindfold, if you take all the badges off something and you take 5 random people out and put them in a Ford Ranger, a Tacoma, a Colorado, a Canyon, and even a Frontier and a Ridgeline, I doubt that Tacoma would be on top for if you're just sitting there evaluating them one by one, especially because and Car Care Net was funny. In his video, he said the price of the Tacoma TRD Pro, I think 10 times. I think at least 10 times because it is expensive and it's a 2-seater, really expensive 2-seater basically is what it is.
Oh, the TRD Pro definitely.
Yeah. So but it's like I don't think the vehicles really stand out against competition. I think they're competitive, but I don't think there's one that I don't think they on a blind test, if you were, I don't think they stand out. What people like about Toyotas is their reliability. That's been.
But did you see the latest Edmunds video with Emmy where she compared this versus she did the TRD Pro in the Tacoma, the Ford Raptor, and the ZR2.
I started watching it.
It was by far this was a 3rd place truck, and they did a drag race. They were in Johnson Valley. They did a little drag race. This truck I want to say was 2nd, but it was still really slow. Which these aren't drag. I like get caught up in that like everybody does, where I want a fast truck. And I bought the fastest truck, the Ranger Raptor. Thank you. But, yeah, I mean, I don't need it on the drag strip, but even off road, she just was not happy with it. And if you guys don't know who she is, like she's very respected for off road. Like that's her thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, Emmy's, I wanted to, I think I started that and then I got pulled away, distracted by whatever my life. And so I was, I'm telling you, I think if you sit down with people, there's nothing really stands out on it, and I think that's a big problem. And so if you lose reliability, that's a big issue. I'm a little bit distracted because I'm a bookmark, which is cool to see on your list.
Yeah.
So, but
that's
no,
the forum, buddy. Look, we click that and we go right to the forum.
Nice.
See how that works, Tim? Like
we're at, yeah. See, there's a car carrying that conversation. We've been talking about it. 221 members, and then the GR Corolla claims being denied. That's another thing with Toyota. There's I got to read the full story, but apparently 2 GR Corollas burned down.
And they did, and they're not wanting to. They're not wanting to because they said they went over 85 miles an hour.
Right. What was interesting with that story is they also admitted they're actually tracking the data. So it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Did I
to
sign
me,
off
it's
on
not about. I don't know if it's about the issue with denying the claim so much for me. It's wait a minute. You guys are actually tracking the data, like you said you weren't going to. Now you are. So it's like,
well, it's just like every good company. They say, oh no, this is just for safety purposes or whatever. We're not going to use this information. And
yeah. I don't know. It is interesting the moment that Toyota's having right now, because it's
especially with owning a GR Corolla. That's a little performance car. Do you think I'm not going to actually use it for performance things?
Well, my God, 85 miles an hour, like in places in Texas, is slow. You're getting past.
Or Montana, where the speed limit is, I think, 85 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, our speed limit on I-80 is, I think in Wyoming, it's 80 miles an hour. Yeah, so like I don't know, that surprised me. So there's definitely something going on with Toyota right now, and I think people like to pile on because Toyota had been the reliability king. To me, it's always like the Yankees, right? So once the Yankees lose a few games, oh my God, the Yankees are terrible, and it's just the echo chamber gets really loud, and it's surprising.
Yes. No, but with Toyota, man, I feel, because we both know management over there. They're very nice people. They want to trust me, and you've had many interviews with the designer of this truck, and it's not like they went, man, let's just build something chintzy. Like it's just the luck of the draw, some of the stuff, bad PR. And when you're known for, people love to knock the guy on the top, they love to knock you down. And they've been on the top for so long, especially with mid-sized trucks. Yeah, it's pretty easy to knock them down. Now, I will say there's things about this truck that I don't like. And I was pricing one out the other day. I was looking at the TRD Pro. I thought, maybe I'll flip the Raptor into the TRD Pro, since the 4Runner is going to probably not be here till next spring. And drive that around a little bit, see what I think. But man, $70,000 to $78,000 for that truck. That's not the best that it should be. And that's where I can dog Toyota a little bit when I said, hey, they don't play the horsepower game. But if you're going to do a high performance vehicle like the TRD Pro, which they sold, they've got their race truck out in the desert in that video showing the new truck doing race truck things. You cannot sell it as that. And then the seats were cool. But that should be an option. That shouldn't be mandated that I have to have those seats, because like you said, you can't get in the back seat of the thing. Forget it. Like if you don't have a newborn child, and then I'd hate to think my newborn child's back there with these metal pistons, in the seat.
No.
And I think they'll, in 2 years, I think they'll remove some of this stuff. They'll pivot, but it takes about 2 years for these companies to kind of pivot.
Yeah. No, I when I saw the Tacoma, I didn't care at all about the TRD Pro, and I still don't care about TRD Pro because that's not something I'd buy. And even the car carrier brought it up in his video, and I brought it up, is that Trail Hunter. Like, to me, the Trail Hunter was the coolest version of that Tacoma. Like, that was the one I would buy.
They should have just called that a TRD Pro.
I'd buy that at $55,000. I wouldn't buy it at $65,000. That's just ridiculous money. And I was sitting with the engineer, and him were talking about it. And I said, you're too expensive. The Toyota is flat out too expensive. It really is.
Well, you know what this does? You've got a ZR2 Bison now that's about $65,000. You've got the TRD Pro that's basically $80,000. Ford's over there with a $58,000 Raptor that now seems like a budget vehicle, even though it's probably the most performance you can get in that size of vehicle. You know what Ford's going to do next year? They're going to go, oh, that's $65,000 now.
Raptor
and they're forcing their hand at this, because for Ford, they don't want to sell a ton of Raptors. I mean, they do, but it's kind of a halo vehicle for them. And now they're priced too cheap. I broke a story where they're looking at bringing the trimmer package for 25 in for the Ranger, which people love the trimmer package. But for Ford, where do you place that? Because you've got their Platinum, which is mid 50s. You've got a Raptor now that's 58 to 60. Where would you put a trimmer in that?
Tremor should be cheaper than the thing is the good about the Tremor is it should be cheaper than the Raptor. It really should. It should be. It's a poor man's Raptor, but it's actually not so much poor man's Raptor. It's the right equipment for most people. Like for you on a daily basis, you'd be for your needs. Tremor would probably fit your needs just as well as Raptor would. Right? Yeah. I mean, and for me too. I mean, I don't do this whole image of people going out in the desert for multiple days and driving like a badass all the time. Yeah, you do that occasionally, but I don't think that's something that I want to have a lifestyle vehicle that does that. You know, I'm going to take it out and do something here and there with it. I'm not going to go out there and beat it up across the desert, especially a brand new truck. I would take a side-by-side or a cheap dune buggy and beat the crap out of that and have my truck sitting at the campsite.
I've thought, because I'm more of the off-road guy than you are, I've thought of that many times of like, oh, I just should get a side-by-side, but damn, dude, they're $45,000 to $50,000 now.
Like, you got to stop looking at the most expensive thing.
No, but I know my need. I know my needs.
Champagne needs for the beer budget.
Oh, probably. But at the end of the day, I kind of know my needs of what I would do with it here locally, where I would take it to Windrock Park or whatever. So I don't want the entry level. And yes, I'm bougie, I guess. I don't want just the basic. I want, I want the nicer deal, man.
Yeah, and Doug's right. You can rent those side by sides. I up in the Black.
Have you ever rented? Have you seen the price to rent them though?
Yeah, I rented one up in Black Hills.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't have to transport all the way up there. It would cost me that much in gas.
I mean, that is a great point. But yeah. I can't believe though you would say people don't actually use their expensive vehicles to do fun things, Tim. I mean, look at this. I'm racing.
Mm-hmm.
There I am beating Kelly. Like I did things with my Raptor, man. Come on now. I mean, I could have done that in a Tremor too. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is unless you have the helmet and Hans device on and blasting through the desert like we did, a Tremor does just as well. So let me ask you this: how many times do you get stuck in the sand?
Never. Not at all.
Oh,
well, I mean, Johnson Valley was a nice. So if you guys don't know, me and Tim were in Johnson Valley back in April or so. We were testing out the Raptor R's. And I did. I didn't get stuck, but between me not understanding the sand, how to approach it, and the nanny features of the truck going, whoa, no more power for you. Yes, I had to back up and try it again. But no, I did. I'm sure you've been to Silver Lake before. The big, what they call test hill at the entrance, that big hill. Dude, the truck went up at like nothing. Yeah. I was so impressed with the Raptor after hitting sand with it and knowing like this is, if you live near this stuff, this is the truck. Buy it. If you want the coolest truck, definitely buy it. Like you were just saying, most people, the rear lockers more than plenty. You don't need it, but for this terrain, I was very happy to finally get the vehicle out and do with it. And I kept it in Baja mode pretty much the whole time.
Baja mode is so much fun.
Yeah,
Baja mode's the best. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're gonna do that stuff, I can see it. I just, like I said, most people just the Tremor's fine. Here we go, Dave. Underscore wants to know, what are the weaknesses or failure-prone areas of Ranger Raptor? I know. That's a common question people have. They're always like, what's wrong with it? What do I have to fix? And it's like, well,
there is a I don't know if I have a good, hold on just a second. I think I have a picture of this. There's one little at the front linkage. There is a plug for the thing that the Australians have figured out real quick. And I've got sorry, I'm trying to find the picture real quick to show you guys. There is a plug that can come undone and in aftermarket solve that problem by making a little shield that goes around it. I think I deleted the picture, but that's the one thing right now. Honestly, the truck's been pretty bulletproof right now. I know there was a few with sensor issues, but I don't think that engine's been around forever. So it's not like that's some brand new engine. The transmission's been around for Ford for a while now. Some people were complaining about shift points, but I think those people are the same people probably putting it in sport mode and not understanding sport mode is made to shift hard, get quickly. Other than that, right now it's been pretty bulletproof. There's a couple little quality things about it that I'd noticed early on. There's a piece of plastic under the mirror that hides a sensor that was just sort of dangling.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I've read other people had the same problem, and some people haven't. I haven't even taken it to Ford about it because I've honestly kind of forgotten about it. But so far, the truck's been pretty bulletproof, and I think that's why maybe Ford has been developing these things and letting Australians and Indonesian markets sort of work the bugs out. So by the time it gets to America with their larger buying audiences, we don't have the problems that maybe like Toyota's having with this American developed, Tacoma, maybe. But so far, so good with the truck. I've put 5,000 miles on it since April, which may not sound like a lot, but it is for me. And they've all been smiley. I've been smiling, happy. Couldn't wait to go put more miles on it.
Right. And it's interesting. I always tell you, I do my 5 good things, 5 bad things, and nobody cares of the good things. People just fast forward.
Negativity sells, man.
I know. What's wrong with it? What do I got to do? What's wrong with it? And it's like, why can't there? And there's a huge negative undertone in the entire world right now. I feel like, why can't it just be good?
Yes.
I don't know. Apparently it can't be.
Yes, I want to bring this up real quick since they were asking about that, because this is soon as I hit the dunes. This was my reaction. I was very happy. I was in this truck that was just made to do what it was doing, and I would only been in the sand just for a few minutes, and I was like, this is badass. So that's been my reaction to that truck so far.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He's already priced out new shocks for his 02. I don't know that I've ever priced out shocks. Have you priced out shocks?
I mean, for the most part, see, I don't want to, like, our Bronco, we initially bought it for, it was supposed to go away, and then Kelly fell in love with it. So I did put Icon shocks under that recently. I put a lift under it. But no, most of these vehicles I buy for press vehicles now, I'm not looking to, I don't want to upgrade them. I don't want to, mess with them. I want them to, if it breaks, it's because Ford did something wrong, not because I added to it, but it'd be expensive. They coil your $3,000 easily.
Yeah, well, everything is expensive, but especially newer vehicles, the stuff's expensive to replace. Even tires are expensive. I mean, everything's just crazy.
But I had that. Who's not expensive, Tim?
Huh.
Nissan.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So
you can finish your other story. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no. You're fine. I don't know. I mean, you've covered Nissan more exclusively than I have in the years past. What did you think of this? So this is the I guess if you haven't seen it, the Frontier has a new grille, basically new front end ish, and a big screen inside, and more availability for long bed.
Yes. So per Nissan, and I did what's funny was I was going to Michigan and I drove right by one of their testers, and I saw it on Thursday, and I didn't get to drop the video till Sunday night because of traveling. I just didn't have, and I didn't think they were going to release the truck Monday. So I dropped a video and like, oh, here's a tester going around. I saw the big screen. The lady was talking to Paul at work. I could read the screen clearly. It was really nice. And in that video, Tim, I said, Nissan will refresh it like this. If it's injection molding, they will fix it. If it's sheet metal, they don't mess with it because stamping's expensive. Injection molding is expensive, but it's relatively easier to do in a truck. So I said they'll fix some things in the dash. They'll play with plastics, but past that, I mean, because if you look at like Xterra, the first gen Frontier is when the Xterra came out. If you look at, they had the square headlights for the first gen Frontier. Then the Xterra got those round lights, and then Frontier got to change just a little bit. It's because they were told you can't mess with stamping because they're kind of a cheap company, and it seems to be working well for them. They keep making profits recently, but I don't understand with this truck. I thought the last generation, or I guess the previously refresh of this truck, looked great. I like the grill of it. I didn't like Frontier stamped in the grill. I don't need redundancies of what I bought. I know what I bought. Same with the Titan when they did that. I didn't like it in that either. They've now put the old hard body style in there, which is goofy because it's not active. It's just a plastic hole that so somebody can put Raptor lights in. That's all that's about. It takes away the silver of that just takes away from to me of the front end. The wheels, these wheels to me, in my opinion, are awful. These are and it makes me sad because I said in that video before I dropped this video, Nissan always brings it with their wheels. They have such a good partnership with the wheel companies in Japan. Like they know how to make really cool wheels. And I said it in the video. This looks like something a tuner guy said. This is what off-road people need. And I don't mean that degrading to the person. They're just doing their job of whoever designed it. That's their approach. But whoever designed this wheel had no idea what people do off-road. Because you're gonna scratch that the first time you go in through some rocks. That's gone. You're just gonna scrape it off there. And now you've got this really ugly lines through this bright orange Pro. The wheels, they don't look inspiring to me. This like we have these gaps through here. Suddenly you have this. There's no feng shui. There's no balance to this thing. It's I don't know. And then these Hankook tires, these whatever, I forget what they're put on there, something Pro. They don't look off-road at all. And this is the Pro 4X. This is
the truck. They don't look knobby at all.
And I dog Toyota for the Goodyears, the Wrangler ATs they put on there, but those tires, at least the outside looks aggressive.
Yeah.
These just, I don't know, something about it. And the interior of this truck, which I really like, except for one thing, and that's this goofy front. This looks like somebody went to AutoZone and bought the letters because it don't even in the picture, it doesn't look straight.
It looks, I was showing my dad this photo. We were looking at it, and that Frontier looks terrible there. Like it just looks.
You know where they got it from though, right?
Yes,
Toyota.
Yeah,
Tacoma on this.
And I don't like the Tacoma on the dash that they do. I've never liked. I don't like when Toyota does that. I've always hated it. So I would take some fishing line and just remove those lettering.
Well, you hope there's no holes behind it. That's what you hope.
I hope there's no holes. Yeah, because it just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe in person it doesn't. It won't look that big. You can take his comment down, by the way. You still have it up there. It may not look in person. It may not look that bad, but the photo of it, ew. And then the rest of the interior, like I was looking at the knobs because that's always Nissan's things, right? So they always use the same knobs and everything. And I think those knobs, volume knobs, are bigger. It looks like the knob size is maybe more.
Let me download these real quick where I can we'll really critique this. I'm a Nissan, guys. I've been a Nissan fanboy. Tim knows for a long time because Tim's the one that told me. I had some words with one of their PR people, and Tim goes, "Why are you just covering Nissan?" I was like, "Well, that's all I know." Like, but I've been a Nissan fanboy for a while. So these knobs for the AC, they've been using this stuff for 20 years. It's directly from the Titan. And yes, you can see a little clearer the Frontier there with a nice clean photo. Oh, wait, I'm sitting here talking and you guys can't even see. I apologize.
Oh, so fake. I'm looking at the comments. Fake bead lock, not lock. Is Ranger Raptor relatively easy and cheap compared to throw 35s and small lift?
Yes, you can put perch collars on them and put 35s under.
Yeah, one guy says I'd cringe every time I got in the Frontier and had to see that. Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm gonna give him some credit because I think that the knobs are bigger, which that's always been my thing. It's like they use the same, like you said, same knobs for 30, 40 years. It's crazy. So that's better. Look at all that piano black. Oh, that's gonna look terrible.
Yes, this is I do like the integrated hazards and stuff. I think that was pretty nice. The vents, the way they go around it looks great. I mean, I will praise them for this. They didn't put a big tablet sticking
right.
up.
Yeah. It looks like it's integrated. It looks like they thought through putting on there.
Because I think between this and the way Ford does their infotainment looks great for a truck. I don't need. I'm so tired of the trend of like, let's stick it up higher and higher in your line of sight.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Before long, it's going to be through the window. And the people behind you can see what radio station you're listening to. I don't need that, man. This is plenty for me. But
this screen size plenty fine.
My biggest thing people have said in the videos though, cameras. please tell me they upgraded the cameras, because Nissan's cameras are straight from the early 2000s. They're awful.
They're bad. Yeah, I scroll down. Let's see the rest of that below that.
So this is what I was talking about earlier. If I had the picture up, this is out of Titan.
Yeah,
this knob out of Titan.
Yep.
Everything about this. Happy to see they got USB-C and A. I would love to see them just go to C though. Unfortunately, with Apple, they should follow what Apple's doing now. They're gone just to C. Most popular phone.
I do like how the heated steering wheel button is next to the heated seats. The Titan was always on the other side. It was just didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. So you have your heated seats, heated steering wheel, parking sensors. Yeah,
these rockers for these. They've used these. I've seen these in Altimas, everything from mid 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't polish their knob.
Oh, there you go. Critique on that one.
Look at all the fingerprints. Look at that. Come on, man.
and I like the grab handles. I think those are just fun.
I do too. I like, and that's a good trend for people that if you're doing outdoor truck things, it's nice to have a grab handle there.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't understand it for the driver. I think just symmetrically it makes sense to put it on both sides, but I do like that.
Charging.
Yeah, wireless charging. So yeah, and we'll see on the wireless charging. Right now that there's a trend on wireless charging where they don't work. They slide around all the time. I had the Camry. I made a left-hand turn, whatever, and my phone went flying across in the wheel well for the footwell for the passenger side.
So steering wheel, Nissan doesn't do a bad steering wheel, but once again, this is straight from the Titan.
Yeah,
so in Titan 2016.
Yeah, yeah, and I've also kind of criticized them. This is the dumb thing, criticism of the door latch. It's just a cheap.
Well, because this is all from the same. It's from the truck they got rid of. It's all in the same position. Same, everything about this is exactly the same.
Yeah,
my understanding, the internals is the same internals.
Yeah, and Doug's right. The problem with lettering on the Frontier is if you have to clean it.
Oh yeah, it
looks like they're raised lettering too.
They are. Like I said, I pray that you could take those off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like this trend. I'm over the trend of stamping in the back of the tailgates, and I don't want this trend to kick in.
Yeah,
everybody follows Toyota. But let me pull this down a minute. I'll bring up another picture of this interior, because I think I like the colors they've chosen. I think they've done a really good job. It's a stylish truck for the budget. Remember, Nissan, unfortunately, they're a one focus at a time company. So this was the Springs focus. So they won't pay it any more attention for a while. So I'm surprised though how fast they did refresh it.
I don't think that. So underscore wants to know if there's an armrest or the grab handle on the A-pillar. No. There's no.
Not on driver's side.
No. I like the seats. Nissan's had pretty good comfortable seats for years too, and they do a good job on the seats.
And there looks like, I wish they were cooled seats though.
Are they not?
No, they I only saw over here the heated.
Oh, that's true. They only have heated seats. Which I said that in a Colorado video, Ford Ranger.
The Raptor video.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, if you're gonna take this desert racing, wouldn't you want cooled seats?
Or where the truck was intended to be used. Yes.
Yeah, that was I don't know. And people had lots of opinions, obviously, but that's my thought. And so small sunroof, okay. I mean
this map lights and eyeglass holder has been used in the last generation. It's the exact same from the last generation, and that's what I mean. Like, they do to keep this truck affordable. People have to get used to it, and we critique these things because we're in all the newest and latest and greatest. But for Nissan to try to keep this truck affordable, that's definitely why you see some of these things like it. But no, the seats look great to me. I love all the stitching. I remember right, I criticized them in the previous version of this that they didn't carry it through the back of the seats. So I can't remember let me see if I can find a picture. I believe in the previous generation Pro 4X that you didn't get, they don't have any pictures of the back seats, but they didn't carry the theme to the back. So you had stitching in the front and the backs were just plain seats.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the overall front end look. I'm not so sold on that. I like some of the interior stuff they did, and they gave it a lettering. I think it'd be set. And it's interesting that they expanded the variety of trucks you can get with a 6-foot bed.
You know why I think
really
that is?
interesting.
I don't think that was because they wanted to. Well, I say that. Why I think they did that is because Xterra is rumored to come back. And Xterra is going to take the longer it's the same frame. It's just it was on the long bed truck frame is what they did. And I have a feeling that's the only reason why that's an option. I could be wrong. It's just speculation. But I have a feeling because they have something coming that they need a longer frame.
It could be. Definitely could be.
Overall, though, I mean, the cool thing about Nissan is it's an honest to God truck. It doesn't pretend to, it doesn't do flashy things. There's no crawl control features. There's no,
yeah, it's got the features you would probably most people would use, and Nissan actually, people don't always know this, but the Frontier is neck and neck with the Tacoma in reliability.
Yes. Of course, I think part of that is when you built the truck for 15 years at a time.
Yeah. Like you said, you're surprised how fast they updated it because last generation, I mean, it had been out for a while.
From 2005 to 21.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's a good looking truck. I would ditch the wheels real quick. I like this color. It's a popping color with all the black accents. Looks great. You would have thought since they upgraded the front, they're definitely bringing the hard body package. They're definitely leaning into that with this truck. I would have updated the Pro 4X. I mean, that could have not been cheaply. That's easy to do.
Yeah, a little more. It looks like just a graphic, which
it's a sticker because I've peeled many of those off.
Yeah, I don't know. They've done the small updates. I'm not sure I like the trend towards a hard body look. I'd love to see them come out with a true hard body. Could be with the Maverick, personally.
But yes,
yeah,
I seen your comment today about that.
Yeah, it's like I'd love to see that, but I don't know. Nissan keeps doing what they have to do to keep selling that truck. I think is the best way to say it. I'm surprised the powertrain didn't change. Like in today's world of emissions and CO2 and stuff, I was surprised that the powertrain is still the same. And I think they probably want another couple of years of that powertrain to get R&D costs out of it.
Well, they definitely. I mean, and Nissan's the company you want to use turbos. They know turbos. I mean, all your tuner cars from the '90s, all turbo. They know that. Last thing I want to beat this thing up a little bit though is I'm not big on this plastic tailgate. They're bringing this in from that hard body look. Less is more sometimes. I like how it did kind of encompass the badge a little bit, but definitely there's hard body vibes to this truck.
Yeah, I don't like the two colors on the bumper. I think I would like black all the way across. I think because then you're looking at it more. You're like, oh, what if one scratches, the other doesn't? I don't know. You're looking at it closer. I do like the stamped Frontier in the back. I like that it's not colored in. Although I did see in Michigan, some guy had a Silverado. It was blue, and he went and got some silver, like a really nice silver color Silverado lettering, and he filled in his lettering, and that actually looked pretty good. That actually popped pretty well.
They make kit like you can buy them from the factories where they do the lettering.
Yeah, this guy had done it, and I do like that, but I like you have some choices there too. But to me, it just needs a wrap. Like the entire truck to me needs a wrap. It just needs a cool wrap that just wrap the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think they'll do well with it. And I think ultimately for the company, it was smart to go ahead. You've got too many competitors now that are new mid-sized trucks. Clearly Toyota is always the dog. They're the top dog, whether they have problems right now or not. They're still leading the pack. But sales figures, I think it was like 20-some thousand last quarter for Tacoma. I think Nissan was pretty close to it. I think Chevrolet was second, but then Nissan and surprisingly, the Ranger has not kicked off. I don't understand that. I mean, here I own one, but I'm surprised Ford. They haven't. We're into quarter 3 now. 2. They've got enough sales figures out there now, but Ford just doesn't seem to really advertise the Ranger. Do you think it's because Maverick does so well?
No, I think Ford wants the F-150. They still want to focus on commercial. So looking at what's interesting is Ford I was reading the earnings guidance or their earnings reports, whatever. And these numbers are staggering. I'm just going to round off the numbers, but basically they made $1 billion on consumer. They made like $3 billion on commercial. They lost $1 billion on EVs. That's basically what they did. And so
only $1 billion.
If you take the consumer and EV and kind of cross stitch out, they really only had the commercial was the way they did business. So that's where you see them put all their focus in Ford Pro, which is a commercial business, because they sell so many commercial vehicles. So I don't think they have the marketing budget for Ranger because they don't care about Ranger. They care about the commercial. And that's where like we own work and made Ford built proud or whatever that they're saying these days.
Yeah, I found the picture. This is the one little thing you have to fix on the Ranger Raptor. You have to put this little cover over a sensor, and it doesn't unplug itself. So, company sent me that for free from Australia, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna want this," and I was like, "Cool."
Yeah. So, I mean, that's very small. Yeah, I don't know. It seems that they just they don't have. They haven't supported Ranger since like 1990. And we basically, like to your point, we get the leftovers from Australia. I think that's really because globally that's what the Ranger sells a lot, and in the US just doesn't, because and it's also too much competition for even with Ford, Maverick, Ranger, F-150, and some customers. I had a guy the other day ask me the difference between Maverick and Ranger, and I'm like, well, the Ranger's much bigger and taller, and it's a whole different. But for me to get that question was like, okay, that means a lot of consumers don't get it.
Well, if you look at them side by side, though, it's not that much smaller.
No, side by side, the Ranger looks taller though.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And then Evan wants to know about, are people still waiting for the 2.7 Rangers? I haven't. I got an email the other day. The guy wanted to know if that 2.7. I should ask you the question. I want to know if that 2.7 Ranger was going to be the same one in the F-150. And I'm like, well, they offer a 2.7, and they did in the Edge, they did in the Bronco, right? They did in the Ford F-150. So to me, you can't say it's going to come from this one vehicle. It's an engine that Ford has in a lineup they use in multiple vehicles.
I was told though that so it'll be the same 2.7 they use in Bronco, and I was told, and I don't know this for a fact, but that it is slightly different than the 2.7 that they put in the F-150. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. And so far, I haven't seen much information from that. They announced in the press release at the first drive event. They didn't even have it available. Wasn't even sitting there in display, and I haven't yet to even hear them talk about coming out with it.
Well, there was so 2.7's been under production delays. They were, and that's across the board. I mean, they've had some issues for what I don't know why they've had some. I think that I think they've changed plans is what I think they've done, and this is once again just kind of understanding the company. I think they want to go power boost, and I think they want to use the 2.3, do a power boost version of that 2.3 that gives you the 2.7 kind of numbers. And I think you'll see it because they've announced it, but I don't think it'll be for long. And I have a feeling, even with the Bronco, I think 2.7 goes away, and I think they'll leave the 3.0 for the Raptor, and we'll do a 2, much like Jeep. You do the little 4-cylinder, and you can do the 4xe version, whatever Ford would call that, and that's all you get. Because I mean, I don't care what president's coming up, you still got emissions to deal with, no matter what.
Yeah, and globally, I mean, a lot of times decisions are made globally too. I mean, you can't build like one engine for the United States only. That's really difficult.
And the 2.3 is a good for the Ranger. It's a good engine.
Yeah, when I drove the 2.3, I thought, hey, this is great. I didn't have any. It wasn't a wow powertrain, but I was like, it's fine. And I love what Ford's doing, the power boost. I mean, the power on board. I've waxed poetically about that thing for a long time, and I've had a lot of people in the comments come back and they said, yeah, I bought one based on Tim's feedback on this. I freaking love it. And that's what my issue was with Tacoma and the Tundra is still, why do they have such a crappy power on board? They don't have anything, and they have a hybrid. Like, if I have to go hybrid, give me something more beneficial than just more horsepower and torque. Because I don't care about that.
Yeah. So Luke says, I watched a video that is right on national availability. The Ford Ranger is around 5,000 units. Auto Trader has over 15,000 Tacomas. It doesn't seem like Ford wants to sell a lot of Rangers. I know they crank them out. I know people at the plant. It's not. I did a tour of the plant a couple months ago. I seen plenty of Rangers going through there. I think for Ford's issue too is the Ranger doesn't need to be built in that plant. So if you guys know where Michigan Assembly Plant is, it's historically the Bronco plant, but it's a small plant in the scheme of things now, and they're cranking out Broncos like crazy, even though sales are slowing on that. I think that's such a dominant vehicle for that plant. Maybe they just can't produce enough Rangers to make volume.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I'm the Ford CEO, if I'm Jim Farley, I probably don't care if I'm going to build that many Rangers.
Yeah.
Because the profit margin's not, I mean, to me, it's like, I'm going to build as many as I'm going to build and I'll make the money and then move on. Right. So, I mean, it's not going to be, they know it's like, I've told people this with Toyota's viewpoint, like Toyota could be the best selling full size truck in the market. They could be, but they have to spend billions of dollars to be the best selling truck in one market. Ford dominates the full size truck market. Why would they spend billions to be the best selling midsize truck? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Evan says the plug-in hybrid Ranger is coming to Australia, the EU market, in some regions maybe next year. I don't see it. I plug in anything to me is just dumb. If you want to plug in, get just an EV. I don't understand the plug-in. I've done time with the 4xe stuff with Jeep. You don't. Yes, you go. Oh, I can get up to 40 miles of free range. 40 miles is not a lot of mileage. If you look at what you drive daily and just on a Saturday, look how many miles, if you're in town, that you're putting in, you will put over 40 miles on that real easily. And then you lose a lot of performance. I'm just not a big fan of plugins for me. I would rather see the power boost. That's the smartest way for a truck. Now cars, completely different story, but I don't see the benefits of plug-in for a truck. I think the power boost is the way to go.
I know a lot of people, like Doug's pointing out, that I think people like the idea of plug-in hybrid. I mean, my dad does. I mean, my dad talks about all the time.
Do you think it just makes them feel good though?
I think a plug-in hybrid makes sense on paper. But I think that after you and I have driven with these and lived with a plug-in hybrid for a while, in real life, after a week, I just don't plug it in anymore. I mean, I'll plug it in the first couple of days. I'll do a range test. I mean, all kind of stuff, driving around, whatever. And then I just don't care about it anymore. Like, it just doesn't. And especially because, the vehicle's getting better fuel economy. So really, the 40 miles of range, I'm saving like $2, $3. I mean, depending how much gas is that day, and I'll just do the numbers together.
Depending on where you charge it too. If you do it at home, like as you should on that, you're saving some money. But you go to plug it in at the mall.
Yeah, you're not saving
it's
money.
Expensive.
Yeah, and then you have the issues, like you said, where you have additional weight. Like, you're adding the battery and the engine, so you have a heavier vehicle. Payload goes down, towing goes down, and the expense goes up. So to me, the ROI on that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You'd have to commute a lot and plug it in
with
every
like diesel. You remember all the truck guys wanted diesel. Oh, I want diesel. I want the power. Oh, the fuel economy you get with diesel. But you figured you had to own it over 10 years to break even.
Yeah, it just depends on the truck. Yeah.
So EVs a lot like our plug-in hybrid would be, in my opinion. Remember, these are just our opinions.
Like I said, I think they make for some consumers make a lot of sense. For me, like towards the end of the week, I just don't plug it in anymore, and I just don't even bother. I mean, and I don't know.
And for like this, I get it. And once again, there is a truck for every butt. There's my daily needs are different than yours. So, for my lifestyle, I don't understand it. But what I do understand, Tim, is kind of final topic here is I didn't see you here. What was going on? This is the Maverick launch. And I did see Jill, though.
Yeah, Jill went.
And I made sure you would like this. Jill was like doing Jill things, frantically running around, because me and Jill were the last to leave the building.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch Jill operate because she's chaos. You see her on a live stream, that's Jill. She's just like this all the time. And because she's in her mind, got what she's planned out, but she's running around snapping pictures. I said, Jill, would you like me to get a picture of you in front of the vehicle? And she's like, no, I'm all right. And then she goes, oh wait, Tim would like a thumbnail for this. She goes, he's always after me for a thumbnail. And I was like,
I am.
See, See?
Yeah, she's like she messaged me the photos or the videos and stuff. She goes, the only reason the thumbnail is there is because Dave was there. And I'm like, hey, we got a thumbnail. So no, I'm definitely pulling back on travel for sure. I like being home, but the problem I have is Michigan. Michigan, I just was there, and like I said, it's a full day for me to travel to Michigan. Jill, it's like a 30-minute flight.
Yeah.
So whenever I can, Jill goes, like
Yeah.
whenever possible.
Well, yeah, for you, there's no, for those that don't know, Tim's in Nebraska, and there's no like, I mean, you have an airport, but it's not like, it's like that little puddle jumper to get you somewhere where there is an
Yeah, I
airport.
mean, it's for me to be so. I happen to do some stuff at GMC while I was on my vacation. I just because I flew in the same time, but they wanted me to be there for like this event for the Maverick and for the GMC coming up next week. That's under embargo. Sorry, can't talk about it. But it's like an hour. You're there for like an hour, maybe two, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it takes me 2 days to get there and back to be there for an hour. Like it's just difficult. And these videos, I don't know how yours did, but these videos never do well for us.
They did pretty good.
Yeah.
I was about 14,000 views on both videos, something like that. Not too bad considering I don't have a big Maverick audience, but
yeah. I mean,
what is your impressions of this truck though? Obviously not a ton changed. I know they all-wheel drive hybrid stuff like that. People had been asking for.
Mhm.
And at the press event, they definitely listened to what people have been asking for and tried to tailor the truck now accordingly. One of the designers was there, a younger guy, super spunky. He loves this truck. This was his baby, you could tell. Very passionate. And sometimes we go into these things and you can just tell this was just the next check box to check to move to the next job. This guy was very passionate about it and was excited that people wanted some changes. And the biggest for me was I really liked the trimmer till you see the price of the trimmer, and then it doesn't make sense anymore. Because I went away from this going, that might be my next truck. It might be fun to have something small to have to live with and see how does that work for my lifestyle. Till I saw the price, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense anymore.
Oh my god, that Lobo all kitted up was like $40,000.
Oh yeah, which is
Yeah.
I was happy I thought the name was goofy. Lobo's already confusing for because they did the F-150 Lobo or something. It was already like the name was in use. I didn't understand that, but
no, I like the update for the front end. It's a little bit polarizing to some people, but I think it's got a little more style. I think the biggest thing is the prior generation Maverick. People thought it just didn't stand out. It just was too plain. So this one's got a little more style. I'll give you that one. I like that. The all-wheel drive hybrid, that was a brain fart from the beginning. I don't know why that wasn't from the launch. I like the Maverick. What mystifies me with the Maverick is why there's not more competitors in that space.
I don't know. I talked to Ford about
I think
that.
I've done the sales numbers for a while. And I think the Mavericks were like 26,000 a quarter or something like that. I mean, really solid numbers.
Definitely whole car volume numbers.
Yeah, I mean, so this is Ford's car basically. This is better than the Fiesta or whatever they had before. So I'm like, I don't understand why there's not more competitors in the space pushing Ford to do more, because competition is always good. But I thought the Maverick, they did a really good job on it. I think that the launch was great for this. I think Ford was really surprised at the sales volume. I remember the story from Jim Farley talking about how there are people the in headquarters, Ford's headquarters was split. Half people didn't want the Maverick at all.
Really?
Other people really wanted it. And like, can you imagine if you're sitting there going, I think this is dumb, nobody's gonna buy it, and all of a sudden the sales numbers are like,
I remember talking to you before the launch of this vehicle when we were looking at some stuff, and I was like, I don't get it. I just don't get it because I was new Ranger was coming, so that was my approach of like, why would you have two similar vehicles? But no, I mean, I think after knowing this vehicle a little bit, I look to people like my dad, who's 80s, shouldn't probably be driving anymore, but he loves a small pickup. And if this had come out maybe 10 years ago, where he could bought one in the secondary market, I think he would have been all over this. My dad's a GM guy, but he loves this little truck. It's perfect for his lifestyle. He can do truck. He doesn't. So my dad, like he loves the Raptor. I let him drive it the other day. He was all excited, but he's like, this is too big. I need something that just feels a little bit smaller. And at the time when my mother was alive, this would have been great because she still could have got in and out of the vehicle.
Right.
And it would have worked for that. Now my dad he wants a spot for his little dog. So the dog can get in a seat if he has his own seat. He's plenty happy. But
that's where I want to get to my life. I want to have a little spot for a little dog, a little bottle of whiskey, sit in my chair. That's all I want.
That's all right, man.
No,
right.
But so it's like I think Tyler's right though. He says Maverick needs to stay cheaper than midsize. I think the sweet spot for the Maverick was $20,000 front wheel drive, 40 miles per gallon,
which is what now 26,000.
26,000, and now all wheel drive is a starter, and it's like or hybrids now the start whatever. It's a weird thing. I don't know about you, but how many AutoZones and Napas near you have Mavericks?
Yep, they all do.
Like
they all do.
They all do. It makes so much sense for those guys, and I know a lot of fleet companies. I'm surprised like companies like Orkin or True Green aren't moving to Mavericks. It's such a great size for them. Anybody can get in out of it, and taller people can fit in the Maverick. I think one of the surprising things of the Maverick is the interior headroom, even for that small pickup. It is impressive that people. I've had people 6'6" get in there, and they said they're fine. Now, I think if you get 4 guys, they're all 6'6", and put them in different vehicles, you get 4 different opinions. I have learned this. I've learned that tall guys have lots of opinions and how much room they want around their head. Like some people will put their head against the top of the roof and like, oh, I got plenty of room. And I don't know.
My biggest takeaway from that truck though is the interior colors. They're awful. I love the new sand colors that they have for the doors and stuff, but they have this ugly navy blue for the center console that doesn't go with anything. And I looked at the trimmer. They had this beautiful sand color trimmer. Looks very truck-like, the interior of it. I love the new digital readout, nice screens, the bigger screen, class leading according to Ford for the new infotainment center. Looks great. I go, okay, I could live with this. But then I look down, and of course the lighting wasn't the greatest in the building. And you look down and you're just like, oh, that's kind of ugly blue. Like it doesn't go with the orange of the accent colors for trimmer. Like I don't know what the interior guys were thinking of that, but that really took me away from, I came back going, I don't need that. I don't want to look at that. I would beat myself up over that.
Yeah. It's funny how trucks are so complex. There's always one little thing.
Yeah.
It's it is interesting how it looks. It's always one thing that pushes you off or turns you on to it. It's interesting. Like I said, when I drove the Maverick I think we were in Nashville when that launched, and
I remember I was aggravated. I was like, I'm in Nashville, right? You don't call me.
And I'm just like, I just thought it was perfect. I thought it was a home run when they built it. The problem I see now is pricing is keeps creeping upwards and keeps getting more and more expensive. And I am
surprised because it's made in Mexico, cheaper labor. Obviously metal still costs what metal costs, wiring still costs what wiring costs, but you would think, okay, they're saving some money. Why? I don't understand how in 3 years it's jumped from 20K to 26K. And you're not getting a lot of, there's nothing really that new about this truck. Yeah. There's front end.
There's nothing. Yeah. It keeps going higher. I remember the same thing happened with Ford Lightning. Remember that? They came out with this, it's 49,000, whatever. And I said in a few videos, I was like, that's a 1 year only price. It's a lost leader for them. And then now you look at it and it's like 60, 70 for the same truck. It's like,
well, so midsize in general. I remember the Frontier. You could get the 4-door Frontier, 28K. Yeah. That was a nice loaded vehicle. And 8 years later, that same vehicle is now 30 to 40. Like I know inflation, yes, is what it is. Things are going to get more expensive, but it seems like with the auto industry always likes to go, oh, we're dealing with unions or we're dealing with this. It's just the cost. But guess what? They're all turning profits, man. And not just like, they're not just squeaking by with a little profit. They're billions of dollars in profit right now. So it's hard to be like, oh, that $20,000 truck, 26,000 is, as the little consumer, you're like, hey man, you're squeezing me to death here.
Yeah. No, I agree. Truck pricing is bizarre. I don't know how they figure this stuff out. It's just crazy. The pricing goes up but then you get stuff like my RHO I have an order. It's going to be $30,000 cheaper than a TRX. And it's basically a TRX different engine.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, how'd you, what? It doesn't make any sense.
So you're saying that engine was $30,000 more on top of it.
Yeah. And the pricing you get, this is interesting. A guy posted on a Tundra is getting a new engine redone, and the dealer told him the price was $38,000 for the engine and all labor and everything. And I was like, man, I said it was $30,000. Took a bunch of crap over that. And now this
I
guy's
know.
on 38,000. I'm like, and I said, and I thought video, I shouldn't have even said the number because I'm like, we will never know the true number for the cost of engine replacement. You'll never know that.
So people think that's interesting because people go, oh, well, the cost, yes, Toyota still has a retail value to that engine.
Yeah.
They have a department that has to show, like, I don't think people realize that, okay, Toyota has an engine department. It's probably a separate company under the Toyota brand. They have to show profit too. They can't be, if they're not, things have to change. And so, yes, these engines, do they truly cost $30,000? No. But guess what? Insurance is a lot of times why things cost more, because insurance will pay more, unfortunately. And the little guy once again gets kind of effed on that. But it is what it is, unfortunately. And it's that I've been following your story on that because I haven't followed the Tundra too much. But what a mess, man.
Oh yeah, I did a video yesterday about the resale values. My truck dropped $6,000 in 4 months. Well,
hey, I told you my Mustang dropped $12,000.
I know. You won on that one.
No, I did that to myself. 100% did that to myself. But you guys go over to Mr. Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talks website. You'll learn all about it. And one day I'll be a real journalist and have words. I'll type words, poorly written words, and I'll do the same thing.
We're redoing our website, and so scroll down the story. It's kind of interesting. Redoing our website, and our IT guy said to us, he says, what you may consider doing is putting the YouTube transcripts in the posts. It's more words, and you can download them. So it's interesting. I know I don't always talk very cleanly and clearly, but I had to edit some of the transcript because it was really bad. But I put the picture of the Carvana thing on there, and then if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the transcripts. So keep going. Yeah, this is the transcript. So I don't know how I feel about the transcripts. So people have said to me, well, I don't want to watch every video. I just want to read it. Well, here you go. But the transcript's not perfect, and I don't really have time.
I'm amazed.
To edit it. I don't know.
So I did a video that me and you were privately talking about it, where Ford Bronco hardtop issues, and it's been an issue since the launch of this thing. Well, aftermarket's kicked in, but I'm amazed that people on Facebook, it got shared. The video is getting shared around a little bit, and somebody goes, I forget what he used for too long of a video, an acronym he used, and I was just like, are you freaking kidding? Like, we're such a TikTok society now of like, oh, I can't 5-minute video. Whoa, I ain't got that kind of time. I've got, 14 things to look at.
I don't know how, I don't know. I don't, you're never going to please everyone, but also it's just really interesting. Longer videos, shorter videos. I get emails all the time from the people in China. I'll cut your videos up and you can do more with the short form videos. And I'm like, no, I don't want to cut things up.
I've had the Chinese editors hitting me up like crazy here lately.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. We should answer this question. Stack wants to know, when the heck is a compact midsize Ram coming to U.S. shores? When they get some money. When Stellantis is, as a brand overall, is in huge problems. Yes. They're laying. I mean, and if you've watched some of my Truck News recaps, Tavares has been tearing apart his U.S. employees, basically calling them. I think he's privately calling them names. I mean, his comments are.
He's ridiculous. Not good leadership. It's things like that. I don't know if it's a lost in translation thing because English is not his first language. But yeah, he's. I fear for that. I fear for that because I love Ram and Jeep. I've always liked them, but I've said this many times. When you stack a bunch of turd companies that aren't profitable together, what do you expect is going to happen? And they're living off of Ram and Jeep as far as profitability, and the other companies are just awful. And then so the guy that leaded the awful companies now is, let me focus in on the American companies that are profitable.
I know,
let's ruin these.
They have layoffs coming. Stellantis have layoffs that he's going to send the European plant managers over to tell those U.S. plant managers how to do their job. You got the union talking about The wiring's too short, which is they're trying to set just a unions all mad about stuff.
The Japanese, you remember in the 80s, the Japanese learned real quick. You cannot come to America and force the American labor to work as the Japanese labor. Just culturally, that just doesn't work. They don't work out together. So what do you think is going to happen when your European ways? I think Volkswagen's experienced this a little bit with their plant in Chattanooga, where it doesn't necessarily work how you want it to work.
Yeah, I don't. So, anyways, and the other thing too, they pulled out of the auto shows. They're pulling back from regional events we go to. I mean, I love the idea of a new Dakota. I really would. I think it'd be a hit for them. I think they could really do a lot. But at this point, Ram's in a third CEO in 3 years. Layoffs are coming. Plants are having issues. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And the new 1500 is rumored to be delayed as well. And they can't get enough. They can't do the power on board like they want to do with Ford. Kind of copy them a little bit because that's delayed. So I can't get that on my truck. So it's like, do
you think some of this though is from all of the union layoff or the union shutdown stuff like that from last year? We lost a lot of third tier providers, parts manufacturers, and is it now catching up? Like the engine issues, the 2.7 with Ford. You think some of this is just that trickling down?
I still think the strike is impacting stuff. Like, so I would say for like the Ranger, I think the Ranger sales numbers are still impacted by the strike. Remember that we saw that thing in the summer, strike happened in the fall, and the first drive event was in the spring. Like next year.
I picked mine up in April though.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like just still getting volume. They sold 1,000 Ford Rangers the first quarter of this year. 1,000.
Yeah,
that's it. GM has had issues with the Colorado Canyon. They pushed those back as far as refreshes, as far as when they came out this last year. So I still think there's some strike stuff hanging around. I still think there's some, especially supplier chain. The supply chain takes forever to get caught back up. And who knows if it ever will. I mean, it's just, hopefully it comes back. But yeah, I think there's still some lingering effects of the strike. And I covered the strike quite a bit, and because it was a big issue, and I'm still surprised that my counterparts, and not so much you, because you were doing a variety of things, but like I'm surprised that some of the bigger outlets and things didn't cover the strike as much.
Are you saying I'm not a big outlet, Tim? Come on, man.
I'm saying you have your. I have
my own niche.
It doesn't fit. Yeah, it doesn't fit your channel. But I'm surprised more people didn't do, because to me that was a huge deal. It really was a big deal, and I'm surprised that it didn't get more coverage. I think we're still paying the price for some of that strike.
Yes. Well, what do we got coming up with you, Tim? What's coming up this week? Anything good?
I have a really cool video. I'm getting back from vacation, getting things caught up. And I think you'll really enjoy this one too. It's an interesting discussion. So Chevron.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chevron law was tossed out, doctrine, whatever we call it, was tossed out July 1st last month. I interviewed the head of public affairs for SEMA and for Consumer Reports, discussing Chevron, what's going to impact the auto industry, and if you can legally right now delete your diesel. That's been a lot of conversation online, and I have a two-part. I'm going to have to figure out how to edit these stuff together. But I interviewed both for just 10 minutes. I thought I don't need an hour and a half video. So I asked some really basic questions, and their answers surprised me. I will just say it like that. So I'm going to get that video out probably Saturday or Sunday, something like that, because I want to get it out right away, because I thought it was really interesting, and I think I'm not a mechanics channel. I can do do-it-yourself stuff, but I'm not going to, like car care now. I'm going to tear apart and tell you that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I love the journalism side of the business. It's where I really focus at. And I love reading some of the government stuff, and I read the CAFE rules all the time. And so when Chevron came out, it's really interesting. You have to watch the video, Dave. We explain what Chevron is. We explain the impact of it. We explain what you need to know. It's very interesting. It's just a very interesting video, and I'm excited to put that out. So that's coming out. I did a thing with XPEL. I got to get that video together in my head, because it's an interesting. We put on some PPF stuff, and so it's interesting. That's an interesting video. I had the Suburban video shot and done. I just need to put a thumbnail on it, and I have a Mazda CX-50 shot and done. Just need to thumbnail on it. So I think those I really like the idea of the Expel video. I like the idea of the Chevron video. And after and
I have I have the CX-50 coming a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Kind of overlooked brand sometimes for some reason.
Yeah. So Doug says, I'm very interested in that video, Tim. I was personally impacted by BS regs when I was still working. Yeah, it's interesting how they categorized it, whether it was a big deal or not big deal, and whether the impact was going to be. It was very eye-opening video, and I'll probably do a short little intro, and then I think I'm going to try to merge the two interviews together and kind of go back and forth with those best I can. But it's going to take me some time to edit, which is why I didn't get it done on vacation. But I think that's a really interesting topic. And I love those topics. I love covering those topics on my channel because I think if I were to, toot my own horn, toot my own horn, I think I cover those topics better than anybody else does, as far as letting the experts talk. I think a lot of times I'll watch interviews, and the interviewer is talking so much, it's like you don't hear from the expert, and I basically ask questions and then I shut up.
Well, I hate. There's nothing like, the news. They have their little debates, their little 4-minute debates, and they ask a question, and then you never get to hear the answer. Yeah. I don't care if it's long form. I just want to hear it.
Yeah. So I feel like I do those interviews really well, and it took me a good week to get information together. And I actually was writing the story up on it, and I had it all I'd written up in my head, but I was like, you know what? I was going to grab some quotes and things. I thought, no, I'm going to get some experts. I'm going to interview. So I reached out and got people responded back. And we had interviews. So I think it's an exciting video. I really am curious about how I'm going to word it, because it's a topic that I think people care about. But if you don't know what Chevron is, you just don't know. You're going to be lost in that video. So I got to make sure we do the intro. We'll discuss what it is, and then how it's going to impact stuff. But I really got the idea. I was covering the Supreme Court ruling. I get up emails all the time. I have an email set up for that, and I was reading some of the rulings on that because I didn't know what Chevron was before this all became news. And then I was watching a video where a guy was in California and he was talking about Chevron, and he has some diesels, and he's like, I can finally delete my diesel, right? Because now it's illegal and I'm like, no, the EPA still has emissions, right? And so, yeah, and then I learned something about the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which impacts Chevron. So again, it's a very interesting video that it's really enlightening when I get done with it. And again, when I get all edited out. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for the Expels. Expels got some really crazy stuff going on at their factories. Do some cool stuff. That stuff sticks like crazy, and it's impressive what they're doing down there.
Isn't it crazy that you got to spend $6,000 to cover a brand new car, to keep it protected?
It's expensive, but they also have a setup where they're doing just the front quarter of a truck. So you could just do the front fenders and the hood, and you don't do the whole entire truck, just the areas where it's going to get the rock chips the most. And I could see it. Because then they said, well, the reality is you're putting this on, but your trade-in value is actually going to be higher when you trade it in, because now it's in excellent condition. So it's interesting, and they're a company that wants to grow, aftermarket company, and they're going to see we're going to see some changes happening.
Right.
Yeah. So Doug's talking about the Chevron more. There's some conversation in that video about some lawsuits are coming out over that, on whether the EPA has the right to even talk about fuel economy. And there's again, I'm excited for that one. Clearly I'm excited.
And clearly Doug is.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I love that about the channel. It's going to be a really interesting video that's not going to get 1 million views, but I think it has a lot of value. I think people like Doug are going to get a lot of value from that video, and it's not going to be like this. I was talking to some cousins recently, and they said, what's your highest view video? And I think mine's like 600,000, something like that. I don't have 1 million view video. I just don't.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that, because I love the content I produce, and I love people like Doug talking about it, because I think those people really get really great value from that kind of video.
Hey, I don't have 100,000 view videos, so I don't want to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
87,000 is as close as I can get for some reason.
I know, it's like the videos go and they stop, and it's I don't know, or they get like one takes off. Like the Ford Ranger video was like my best viewed video for years, and I've done the same video like with a Colorado and with this, that, and other. Doesn't get crap. I'm like, I don't understand it.
No, but I'm happy where my channel's growing though, because I'm seeing more of I'm 60, 70,000 view videos. So it's like, as long as I keep seeing growth like that, I'm happy. And speaking of growth, you guys would smash the like button for me on my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. You'd make a little young 50-year-old, well, almost 50-year-old happy. And I'm the young one. And look, he's got the gray in his beard. I'm the younger looking one, and I'm the older one. So make me happy and smash the like button for me. The like button, especially, you would believe it or not, would not believe what that does for a channel. So just if you like it, even if you don't like it, when you hit the frowny button, it still helps the channel. So
engagement.
Yes. Just like you do when you meet a young lady and eventually you want to live together, you get engaged. So
I was like, where are you going with that one?
I don't know, man. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or these badass little mid-sized trucks that we all like to drive.
Yeah.
Tim, take us out.
We'll see you down the road, the normal, not insane road of engagement, wedding talk.
Later.